Welcome to the garden. Today I'm going to be doing some maintenance on my ghost plants, or Graptopetalum. These are really beautifully pale blue. I noticed a lot of the older growth is kind of flopped over, so I'm going to be cutting these back, and this is actually going to get planted. But before we plant these out, we've got to let these wounds heal. This will callus in a couple days. It's also a good idea to strip those bottom leaves. We'll just go up to about here. That way when we plant it, we can go all the way up to those bottom leaves. It'll give it a nice low anchor point, and the roots can start forming all the way along that stem. So I'm basically going to go around the rim of the pot and cut anything that overhangs. We want to cut it all the way back to where we start to get new growth. Just like that. And look at those roots. Some of those are actually reaching down into the soil. So that'll give our cutting a huge head start. Now some of these in the front might be able to go, and that'll leave more sun for these ones over here. But first we'll take a few of the more obvious ones at the back. Look at what a massive difference that makes. Isn't that crazy? It looks like a brand new container. We actually cut away quite a bit of material. Look at all of these cuttings. We can actually start planting these out now if we use dry soil. We'll just allow them to heal in that dry soil before we water. Because we have so many cuttings, I'm going to start a fairly large container. I've just filled this about halfway with our succulent potting soil. And one by one, we can just kind of situate these however we want. I want to keep them fairly low, but we'll let them stick out of the pot just a little bit. So just about like that. We'll try and get each cutting at about that same height. This one I'm going to remove the leaves. That way it'll be around that same height as the others. I've arranged our cuttings in a beautiful ring around the container. We'll just set in our final cutting. Awesome. I'm just going to scoop in our soil. We'll backfill in around all those stems and roots. And then we'll just let these sit for a couple days before we water them. I am kind of overburying them right now, and then we're just going to give them a tap to settle all that soil. So I've allowed these to heal for 2 days now in this dry soil. That means all those wounds will have calloused over. If you need to do any rearranging, now is really the time. I'm going to start by watering these in with the spray bottle just to settle the soil and clean up those leaves a little bit. Really just cleaning everything up, saturating that soil a little bit, and then we can really give them a healthy drink. So now we've not only really cleaned up this container of ghost plants, but we've got a brand new one. And I love the way these contrast. Our old container is nothing but new growth, and our new container is nothing but old growth. Whenever you take new cuttings, you're probably going to end up with a few leaves. And these we can actually propagate as well. I like to give them a good amount of sunlight and just set them out to heal. Eventually these will actually start to grow roots. It might take a couple months. And if any of the leaves look translucent, like these ones, I'll just toss those because they're basically done. So if you find that your ghost plants are getting a little bit leggy, maybe prune them back nice and low so that you can get fresh growth, and then plant out your cuttings into a brand new container. I hope you can use some of these tips in your succulent garden. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.